So we're here at Silverstone to try out this bike here. It's Suzuki's new GSX-R125. It makes around 14 horsepower. It's the lightest bike in its class, shortest wheelbase. It's a bit of a weapon if you're into 125s and you like riding at about 85 miles per hour, which is about your limit,
yeah,
isn't it?
It's claimed to be a weapon in its class. Suzuki tell us that it will handle better, go faster in a straight line, and it will be the most fun, actually, to quote.
Amongst all the competitors. Quite a competitive market as well. Yeah, it promises to be quite a decent package, and tomorrow we'll get to try it out at Silverstone on the Stowe circuit. So if this bike looks familiar, it should do, because it follows the lineage of all of the GSX-R family, with the GSX-R1000 at the head, which in turn is derived from the MotoGP bike you see behind me. That's Alex Rinder's actual MotoGP bike. He's just been racing this weekend, which is pretty damn awesome. And you can kind of see the resemblance even to that, can't you? But especially with the MotoGP colour scheme, which is a huge seller for Suzuki.
Yeah, and as well, it just looks edgy. Like for the age group they're going for, it needs to have the looks. It needs to be aggressive, and it needs to jump out of you, and it does.
Yeah, Suzuki hasn't held back with this. I think they've really gone out of their way to kind of make a point. They want to be fighting. They're back in the elite class, doing tremendously well with the new GSX-R1000. And likewise, they're now in the 125 sports bike market with this bike, and they're there to have an impact. Yeah. They want to be the best.
It feels really small, like the tank is absolutely tiny on it. I believe it's 11 litres, but because of the fuel consumption, it doesn't matter. Like they're saying, even on track, it does about 80 miles to the gallon. So that's another thing we need to give a try out to tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, that is impressive. Obviously, for people, learners, etc. I mean, it's a decent investment, to be honest, to buy this bike. It's not cheap, but economy comes into it. You want your money to go as far as it can, because you want to keep riding with your mates as long as you can. So yeah, 11 litre tank, and I think they said about a 250 mile range or something like that.
Yeah,
it's quite impressive.
500k.
Yeah, so so all good stuff, and yeah, we'll give it a go tomorrow and let me know what we think.
If we stay on.
How are you getting on out there? You look like you're struggling.
It's good, actually.
Throttle's the one on the right.
Huh?
You know that?
Yeah, I know. It's just getting used to riding the 125 again.
Yeah.
It's so nimble and so light, but it's just...
Yeah, but it's so much fun. I think these bikes are so unintimidating. They just oblige. Like they turn, they go, they stop. There's nothing scary about them.
No, it's not difficult. It just flows. It's easy.
Yeah, you just got to trust in it and relax and enjoy it. But I think it's the equivalent of today going out go-karting with your mates.
Yeah.
It's just like the perfect track, the perfect bike. It's a proper laugh. Had Taylor grabbing my ass down the start straight.
And I bet you loved it.
I did, yeah. It was a memorable moment, but I remember the laugh. I think you need to get out there anyway, because your session's on.
So we just had the morning on the Suzuki GSX-R125. It's managed to stay dry, which is pretty crazy, to be honest, because it's looked like it's going to hammer it down all day. And we've had an absolute blast, wouldn't you say?
I've really enjoyed it. It's such a great little bike. There's no forgetting the fact it is a small bike. By no means rapid or anything like that, but it's a really stable, really agile, fun package. And it's great for getting scrappy out on a small track, which is like the Stowe circuit is, and just having a good laugh, There's nothing to not like about it.
Yeah, in its class, it really does feel punchy, it feels light, it feels nimble, but it's stable as well. they literally dialed together a whole package, which really works.
One of the features on this bike that jumps out to me is the gear indicator. Like I've been using that relentlessly. At that, and you know, it's easy to read the revs as well. I mean, it's quite crucial on this bike. You kind of need to know where you are.
Every gear.
Yeah, you know, it pays to kind of know those few details. Going back to the virtues of this bike, its best quality is that it's just so usable. There's nothing intimidating about it. It was only when Taylor hung me out as we're going through a chicane, and it got to the point where I really did need to start tipping in, else I was just going to go straight into some cones. That, you know, I really had to get on the anchors, and that was the first time the ABS came in. And we're not messing around. I mean, to put it in perspective, this morning I've gone within 2 seconds of what Alex Rins and Ian Oney did on these bikes on the same circuit a couple of days ago. So, you know, we're not messing around, and yet still, you know, it's only when you get into panic mode that the ABS is kicking in. So that's testimony to it. So I thought we'd just grab a bike and take a look at a few of the key features on it. We'll start with the styling of the machine, which mimics the GSX-R1000, not just in the body panels, which carry off a similar shape to the big litre bike and the flagship of Suzuki's range, but also with things like the LED headlights. And it's also got an LCD dash, which has a gear indicator on it, got an RPM warning light, you've got all the normal stuff like your neutral, your indicators, a very easy to read rev meter, and also the speed is shown in your face very clearly. And you've also got an ABS warning light. So this bike comes with ABS as standard, there's no option, you can't switch it off. But it's not overly intrusive. I've got on really well with the system today. It doesn't just kick in. You really have to push it to get that system working. It's also got a key immobilizer. So basically, you carry a fob on you, you leave the key in the bike at all times. If the fob isn't around the bike, it's a meter perimeter it needs to be in, then you can't actuate the ignition. At the front of the bike, there's a substantial size wavy disc that's coupled to twin piston slide caliper that's performed really well today. I've really got on with it, lots of feel, lots of power, and the ABS hasn't been too intrusive. The suspension on the bike is really basic. You've got 33mm forks up front and a primitive shock at the rear. Nothing's adjustable, but to be fair, again, you know, I've just been able to get on this bike and ride it relatively hard without having any problems. Suzuki are really proud of the motor in this bike, which is a dual overhead cam single cylinder motor. It makes 14 horsepower and it produces 11 Newton meters of torque, which puts it right up there amongst the best in the sector. So at the rear of the bike, you've got that Euro 4 compliant exhaust system. It's not the loudest thing in the world, but it's not offensive either, you know, it's a reasonable note. Like anything, if you wanted to, you could always change that for an aftermarket exhaust. The bike comes as standard with an 11-litre tank, and Suzuki are claiming an average of about 80 to 90 miles per gallon. GSX-R has got a really short wheelbase, just 1300mm, and it weighs 134 kg, which is featherweight compared to its rival, nearly 10 kg lighter than its nearest competitor. In terms of technology, there's nothing fancy to this bike. It's just got the ABS, there's no traction control, no wheelie control, none of that nonsense, and that's reflected in the price of the bike, which comes in this colour at £4,099. For the other two variants, £3,999.
You're the undefeated king of the Stowe circuit on the GSX-R125. You've beaten Ian Oney, you've beaten Rins, MotoGP boys have gone home crying. What's your technique for getting the most out of this Suzuki?
If you had a set of cojones like I did, then I think you'd be fine.
Just come naturally.
Yeah.
But how are you getting the most out of this bike?
I'm not telling you.
So we've got loads of track time in today on Suzuki's new GSX-R125, and it's been a right laugh. What's been the best feature on it for you?
To me, it's just the nimble handling. There's only so much you can do with a 125 engine, and they've got there. They've got to what it can be. It's the class leader in the engine, and to me, it's all about the chassis.
There were quite a few occasions when I was chasing Taylor where, you know, I was pushing beyond my limit, and I'd get, you know, the front folding or whatever, but I always knew what was going on, and that's partly down to an informative chassis, but also the stock road tyres that it comes on, which are impressive. They warmed up really quick. I think Suzuki's built a very good bike, and they've gone and supported it by putting the right products on it as well. That comes across. Like you say, the engine it's a good motor, a 125 4-stroke. It's not anything particularly special, but you know, it worked, it was fast enough. Gearbox was really good. That's something that bothers me when you look at lower capacity bikes. Some manufacturers scrimp a little bit on components, and you can often find a dodgy gearbox, and that's a real shame, but there's been none of that on this bike, and all at a decent price. So this bike here in the MotoGP livery retails at £4,099, with the other 2 colour options costing £3,999. Another thing I just heard was that Suzuki's got a great finance option for this bike. If you put £33 down over 3 years, it will cost you £89 a month, which is not bad, is it?
No, that's less than a phone contract nowadays.